Welcome to Work the Left Side. We are back. I've been away for a week, but I am back. I'm back in style. I am joined by Benji from Wrestling in Newcastle. Matey, how are we
Oh,
doing? Good.
yeah, I'm class. How are you?
5x5, buddy. I'm all good. All good. Glad to be back. Had a week off. So, I thought, like I said, coming back in style. I've been looking forward to this because, you know, before we hit record, I was saying it to you, you guys sort of popped up last year and you guys have hit the ground running. You've got what, 5 shows in now? And towards the end of last year, I did the promotion of the year award kind of thing. It started off as a bit of a joke. I just thought a few people might get involved. I might get 20 votes or something. Shit, man, it blew up. And then, yeah, I mean, you guys were in the final four, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was insane.
BWR title, and then you guys. So that's how well you're doing.
Yeah, those list of promotions you just mentioned there, they're all like promotions like as a wrestler, you like feel proud, to work for. They've got like full of talent, like from top to bottom. So like to be mentioned in the same breath of those in our first year was pretty awesome, to be fair. Couldn't have really expected it. We just wanted to offer like something quality, in Newcastle that can be attended by, anyone of any age, and they'll enjoy it. So like to get a little bit of recognition, like that's pretty fun.
That's it. I mean, you've only 3 shows in at that point as well, because it would have obviously been towards the end of the year. You've done 2 shows so far this year, so yeah,
Yes.
the 3 shows. You've got that kind of reputation already. And whenever I've spoken to people that have worked, Win, I always kind of point out, because sometimes you could get a promotion that does really, really well because lack of options. I mean, it could be in a town where there's not many other promotions or there's not any other decent promotions. But that's obviously not the case for you guys. I mean, Newcastle is just a town that is just, full of good promotions, full of talent. So it's not
Oh
like people
yeah.
see you because they're limited. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Newcastle's like it's a great place to live in the northeast because there is a lot of promotions up here. Um, it's a it's one of those though where we are quite like detached from everyone else. Like we are quite far up north, so it is sometimes difficult as a wrestler from up here, like to get outside. But you can work a lot just from staying in the region. There's people up here that just wrestle locally and don't really leave, but they'll be wrestling like every week. It's one of
I
those
mean,
places.
you guys tend to go up to Scotland more than you do go down south, don't you? That's why you've also got a load of Scottish talent on the show, I presume.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely the case. Um, so yeah, that's what something I wanted to do with wrestling in Newcastle really is I wanted to bring people to the region that don't wrestle here. There's a lot of wrestlers out there who like, you know, they they deserve an opportunity, they deserve opportunities places, but there isn't that many opportunities everywhere. There's a lot of really good wrestlers out there and there's just not that many opportunities. So that's what I really want to do with Wrestling Newcastle. So everyone who's on our shows are all there because, you know, we feel that they deserve an opportunity to wrestle in Newcastle.
Chili Heatwave, I've got to shout it out. He's somebody, just first person I thought of when you sort of said, people that don't haven't travelled up that far probably before. But
Chile
Chili's
Heatwave puts in so much effort. Like we run seminars before our events, and the seminars are there really for to get like people in and around the event, like other wrestlers, and get people mixing and being able to go to a seminar on a show with people who have traveled to that show to attend that seminar. So you're meeting like-minded people, and you can stick around after the seminar and just watch the show with the people from the seminar. So you can get hang out and stuff. And Chili has came to all of them, every single one we've done. Um, he just puts in like so much effort, and I've wrestled Chili as well. I think I was Chili's first match, if I remember rightly. First match in front of a crowd. At Spectrum. It was me and Xeonox against Chili Heatwave and Harley Hudson. And that was a fun match. But yeah, he's a really nice guy, Chili. Really good guy as well.
Yeah, definitely. He's one of those guys. I'll pick up every opportunity I can get on this show, kind of thing. As well as Kemper, who I know obviously you've got in the August show. I was again saying before we hit record. I was looking at the show you've got coming up. I'll talk about some of the other shows, afterwards. But I just want to talk about this August one at the minute because, you've got Kemper versus Matthews. That's just two big guys. But the big thing for me, what you're promoting, is the fact that you've got Rampage Brown and Nathan Cruz, back in two shows back to back. Again, anybody who's watched any of these videos, any of these channels, knows me personally. Knows I rate Rampage and Nathan as probably the top two guys in this country ever, kind of thing.
Same. Nathan and Rampage to me, when as a wrestler, they're amazing. I've had the opportunity to wrestle both of them in singles matches, and it was great. And we had them both for two events, so we're thinking what could we do with that? And we thought we'll give you a tag match that you're probably never going to see elsewhere. And it'll be interesting, and what's that going to look like? That's pretty interesting. And then they'll meet in a singles match in our November event at Grand Slam. So,
that's just smart booking for me. You tease it in the tag match, you kind of let them have that face to face, but it's still not a one-on-one, but it's just whetting the people's appetite, ready for the next show, kind of thing. That's just smart booking for me. That just makes 100% sense.
Yeah, it's we want these events that anyone can go to who've never been to wrestling before and they can enjoy it, and we want people to return to see what happens next as well. I think I'm a wrestling fan, and I like being rewarded for watching long term. Little references here and there, and little twists and turns and things. And I think pretty much every wrestling fan's that it's quite easy to book two awesome guys to wrestle each other and have an awesome match, but it's better to tell that story over time and have an awesome bunch of matches. I think it's
you get involved. That's the thing.
Yeah,
it's all right. Get an exhibition match. That's fine. That's awesome. I love them. They've got a purpose. But as you say, if you have a series of matches, then you can slow it down a little bit because you're riding the emotion. You got to pop more for the smaller thing. Means something. And
it's slightly off on a tangent here, but we have really good production at Wrestling Newcastle. We have a really good kind of videographer and really good production. We put a lot into it, and all of our shows will always be free on YouTube, in full with commentary. Two guys on commentary, Stan Kellett and Robbie, our videographer, is actually the other commentary guy, Rocky. And these are two guys that have never done it before, and they wanted it, so we give them an opportunity to do it, and they do a really good job. And they're all free on there, so fans can follow along with the story. They can watch any of our matches. If you see a card online, you're like, oh, that looks awesome, but I live in Manchester, I can't make the trip. It's always going to be free on YouTube, so you can start watching our back catalogue, and we will carry on, posting those match events up there in full. You see a lot of promotions that post the odd match here and there, but I want everyone to see what we have to offer, So if you do want to make the trip up to see us, it's not going to be a wasted trip. And we finish early as well. All of our shows, all of our events start at 4 and they finish by 7. So if you do live 2 hours away, you're going to be back by 9. So yeah, we try and get in many people as we can, really. Given the early start time, everything's available online for free. You can follow us, you can come from afar to see our shows, and you'll get home in a good time.
As a fan, dude, I've got to, again, anybody who has watched any previous episodes knows me. Knows I'm a massive advocate. I'll shout out from the rooftops, the importance of YouTube. Please, use it. It's free. It gets eyes on the product. And Win is one of those shows that I kind of, obviously we've said you're 5 shows in at the minute. You've got the previous 4 shows are on YouTube. Obviously your last show was in May, so I'm just waiting for that to drop at some point in June, July. But yeah, they're all there in full. I've watched them, thoroughly enjoyed them. And if I didn't have family commitments, dude, I would be on a train up to Newcastle just on the back of what I've seen of YouTube kind of thing. I've got a 6-year-old, so I can't just kind of drag him along, unfortunately, sometimes. But, if I wasn't, there's plenty of people out there who don't have that commitment. I'd be surprised if your fans, if people don't turn up for the Yorkshire show, aren't there, the August show, sorry, dude. Aren't there because they've seen it on YouTube. You've probably got 80% returning fans.
100%, yeah.
Because of YouTube and stuff like that. That's why it just makes sense to me.
Well, we always get the odd comments of when's the last event going up on YouTube, on Facebook and stuff, and on Twitter too. We have a small team. We are a small promotion. We're a startup. We don't have we don't have a Titantron or an entrance stage or anything like that. And we're in a social club. We don't have from the outside, it doesn't look like anything, but when you get in there, it looks amazing. But we don't have a grand venue or out like that. We are quite low budget, in terms of the frills. So it does take us quite a while to turn these things around, the videos online and stuff. But I really do think the finished product is really good, and I think it does stand up there against anyone in the UK, really, for the team size that we have. They run really well as well. They all run quite short times. I think our shortest one's under 2 hours, and do you see any wrestling show under 2 hours really now? And I think the longest one's 2 hours and 30 something. Don't quote me on that, but it's something like that. It's not too long.
It's around there. But yeah, I do that. I second that. Because I've watched all the shows, and they're just fun. They're good, awesome matches. The talent is unbelievable. It speaks volumes when you've got Brady Phillips as champ. I'm a massive mark for Brady. I think he's awesome. Obviously, Response of True Grit. He's currently their world champion, or their champion as well. He's holding your belt.
Brady's one of those guys where realistically he could be wrestling anywhere in the UK. In the Northeast, like I said, there's not that many opportunities really for the companies we a lot of time use local talent, other than North and Prime, really. A lot of them just use local talent. So there's not that many opportunities for people up here really. And North's a beast of its own, it's growing out of control. And as I said, there's not many opportunities up here. So Brady, he could be on in any promotion in the UK. So for us to be able to use him up here and him be even special, because you can't just see him anywhere else up here. You can only really see him at wrestling in Newcastle, and he's our champion. So he's gonna be in the main event. He's gonna go against someone really good. You're gonna see that every time at wrestling in Newcastle. He's our champion. That's how much I think of Brady.
No, definitely. I second that. And that's the thing as well. I was looking through shows when I've watched the shows. It's seeing the people that you guys use. I sort of say it's very different to the other promotions in the area, kind of thing. You got. I've been a fan of Chris Ridgway since back in the day. I remember him years ago. Random facts. I did the artwork that was on his first ever Money in the Bank briefcase thing that he had years ago.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, I'm a massive fan of Ridgway. I love seeing him do anything. And I'll definitely shout out anyone that's in 2 minds about going to the Ridgway seminar. Do it. You'll learn things that you didn't even think were possible from that guy.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Him against Dara though, that's just, to me, Dara Diablo is another guy. I think people are starting to see how appreciate him. Basically, he's been around for years, but it's finally getting the attention.
Yeah, I must have wrestled Dara about 4 or 5 times now, for myself. I've got to be around Dara quite a bit at 3CW. That was another Northeast promotion that isn't around anymore. And yeah, I got to see how good he was. He's And again, he's one of the guys that doesn't really get used up here that much. So it's really good for us to have him on our like event, and I can't wait to see what him and Ridgeway will look like. They're both smash mouth, you know. I just can't wait to watch it, like as a fan, you know.
Yeah. So as soon as I saw that match graphic, I was just like, oh,
It's going to be good, isn't it? It's going to be good.
I'm not even ashamed to say I made like some strange little noise of excitement. I was just like, it's like, yeah, there we go, that's the one.
Yeah, because Dar was one of those guys I've been wanting to bring in for a while, and it was like, right, who could have put him against? Who could have put him against? I was waiting because I wanted to bring him in like a lot earlier, but he got injured. So I was messaging him asking like, oh, how's your injury and stuff? Like, how long do you reckon I'm going to be? Because I was thinking, oh, when he comes back, I can try and get him in. And again, we wanted Chris Ridgeway for ages as well. And it just sort of aligned up that, we can bring these both in at the same time, both make the debut against each other, and it's going to be amazing. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, that's it. And then if it's something like, if it's just a one-off match, amazing kind of thing. If you can get him back again, and there's a couple of matches there, or it's something that kind of builds and builds.
What you got to think is this will be the first time that like my audience our wrestling Newcastle audience have seen Dara or Chris in Newcastle, and the impression that they're both going to leave is going to be really good. So like, who knows where it could lead to.
That's the thing though, I mean, it's matches like that, like last year you had Brady Phillips versus Nathan Cruz. It's just the matches you have lined up. Scotty Rourke versus Adam Bolt. It's just, I'm seeing these matches, I'm watching them on YouTube, and I'm, the fact that you were in the top four, I mentioned earlier, the awards thing, just doesn't surprise me kind of thing. I mean, don't get me, there's a shed load of really, really good promotions, amazing promotions. But yeah, you guys are putting on matches I've never seen before. That as a fan, I say make a really stupid little noise with excitement.
Yeah, and it's something you go back to is when you said we have a lot of wrestling in Newcastle. Like, there's a lot of promotions, but these aren't just matches that like haven't been seen in Newcastle before. They're matches that you might not have seen anywhere before, and they all mean something as well. They all lead on to something or come from something. It's not just matches for matches' sake. And there's a lot of good local guys up here that we wanted to stick in the ring with people who are just as good as them from outside the area, and it's been really good to see like those guys flourish as well. So people like Henry and Mark, Stalker, and like Zio Knox. I get a tag with Zio Knox every time I have a match. I get a tag with Zio Knox. I know how good Zio Knox is, and to see people like recognizing how good Zio is, it's amazing. Zio got to wrestle Dean Allmark at Gauntlet for the gold in the Gauntlet main event, and just as a fan, and to watch Zio versus Dean Allmark. Dean Allmark's amazing. One of the best in the UK of all time. I mean, it was awesome. It was really good, and to see people sharing clips of Zio and wrestling Dean Allmark going, "Oh, how good's this?" That was awesome as well. Yeah.
That must have just been like, you must just, I can't even imagine it, from being like I'd just be like a proud parent or a proud sibling or something. You just being like, oh, that's awesome, but having that kind of warm glow about it and just be like,
a lot of the guys that I use from the Northeast, they're all guys I've seen have their first wrestling session, training session. Like Mark, Zio, Stalker, and Henry all train at Rampage Brown School. So like Stalker and Mark, I'm pretty sure I've seen have their first, wrestling training session. And I remember Mark used to help out at 3CW, sit by ringside and hit people's jackets and stuff. And, they've seen him doing ring jobs all over the country and things, put the effort in, and seeing them getting the chances that they all deserve now, it's really good. Like, not just at Wrestling Newcastle, like Stalker's absolutely killing it at North at the moment with their keg stacker. Amazing. It's good to see them, doing well.
Well, that's it. You take pride in that as well. That's the thing. It's like everybody seems really happy to see people doing well, not just within their own promotions, but elsewhere. So if they're doing well elsewhere, then that brings more eyes onto you when they come back to you and everywhere else, kind of thing. And yeah, I've got Mr. Kegstacker on the show soon. You know, I had to message him and be like, dude, right, you know, invited him on, see if he wanted to chat, because well, it's another person to add.
He's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet.
I'm finding that, you know, the more and more I speak to the big scary bastards, nicest people that I've ever spoken to, like Gunnar Rigg, lovely human being. Speaking to Franco Fate soon, again, legitimately very nice human being. Tim Strange, awesome. So
Tim's a guy I've known since I was like 14 or 15. I'm 36 now, so it's a long time.
wow.
So yeah, I've known Tim a long time.
Again,
when I was a kid, a teenager, I trained at WZW, which was a school in Newcastle. So I used to get on the bus from Middlesbrough all the way up to Newcastle and go and train on an estate in Newcastle on a weekend. And Tim was one of the guys that was there. It's like he used to travel up on the bus with us from Middlesbrough because he lived in Middlesbrough at the time. So I've known Tim like most of my life.
But yeah, I love Tim. He's just, again, legitimately just a really nice human being. And like I say, it's because they can be nice. You know what they got to prove? They're big, scary looking bastards. They don't need to be mean. They can be nice as pie. You mentioned earlier, you know, about obviously Henry, you know, training and stuff like that. That was another match, again, that kind of made me make a funny noise. Him against Fuzik.
Oh, yeah. Well, Henry had an absolute blinder of a match at Settle the Score with Ian Skinner. It was easily like, it was close to being match of the night. You know, it was up there. It was match of the night contender, definitely. It was really good. When that hits on YouTube, definitely check that out. Really hard hitting. A fight from both of them. It was really good. I can't wait to see what him and Boosh do. Honestly, that'll be really good. And he's got Ian in his corner as well.
Yes, I noticed that because I was a bit like, oh, okay, that's a good twist. Because again, that's something I've not seen. I've seen Skinner and Vucic in a match against each other. I've never seen them together, and I kind of think that'd be really good. You know, you've got the guy who says nothing, and then you've got Skinner in his corner giving it the big gob.
He says enough for 3 people, doesn't he, Skinner?
That's it. Like, there we go. Mentioned obviously, you know, some of the matches earlier as well. I mentioned, you know, Adam Bolt, Scotty Rourke. They've got that 3-way coming up in August. Adam Bolt versus BT Gunn as well, though. That to me was just, BT Gunn's one of those guys that have been around for years, very much like Adara. You know, he's just amazing. You know, he just brings so much. You could learn so much from him, just being around him. You know, the stuff he did in ICW with the New Age Click was incredible. But yeah, to see Adam Bolt, you know, get in the ring with him. Dude, I love Adam. I think Adam's great as well. He's another one of those guys that's just, I love seeing him popping up in more and more promotions.
It's one of those things where we did a 4-way and they were both in it and, you know, bounced off each other really well. So it was like, oh, I'd like to see that. I wonder what that would look like, you know, 1-on-1. Because the 2 guys, again, like, you're probably not going to get to see wrestle again anywhere else. Because just from different parts of the UK, you know. So yeah, it was good. It was good to just see them in there together, to be honest. Really good opener as well, that Settle the Score. Yeah, fantastic. Both amazing. Like you said, BT, being around the UK, done just about everything, you know. There is got a lot of knowledge to pass on. And, you know, he's still up there as one of the best in the UK, easily.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if anybody doesn't know, you know, I mentioned the New Age Click earlier. You know, I've watched Kaylee Ray before she ventured stateside, Wolfgang before he ventured stateside, Stevie Williams. That was a banging group in ICW. BT was just, you know, a core element of that. So what he brings to the table, you know, if you can get him on your show, get him on your show. But as a promoter, I mean, are you just kind of, how far in advance do you kind of allow yourself to sort of make plans for? Because obviously, you know, in case of injuries or stuff, or, you know, I know some people, you know, will have the next 12 months planned out and then make.
So I'm like quite old school. I plan in advance. So at the moment, I think pretty much know what we're doing until like January. But that's just purely because we want stuff to carry on, and if we don't want to like also shoot ourselves in the foot. So there's been cases where we've booked someone once, and they've done really well, and then we can't have them on for like maybe 2 events or an event because we've already booked quite far ahead. So we like to leave like a little bit of uncertainty in there. So we normally have like a 7-match card. So we normally plan like half of it maybe, and then sort of see what happens, and then plan the rest. But mostly all our main stuff's like planned well ahead.
Yeah, I feel obviously like the titles and like you say like the big names. Like you say you planned Rampage and Nathan in a couple of shows back to back. So you kind of got the like I said, it's just so many kind of unknown elements though. Like I sort of said, like somebody getting hurt or being able to get somebody back who made such a great impression on one show.
There's things like settle a score where we had we had 3 huge dropouts like on the day, and there were like stories that had been built up, or like things you were going to see the end to. It was going to be like Brady Phillips versus Isaac. Obviously that couldn't go ahead, and Shreddy versus Rob Drake, and that couldn't go ahead. So sort of like we had to pull some strings in that, like it was basically like 4 hours before the event or something, and we ended up the event itself ended up like really really good, and everything made sense because we'd planted seed previously. Like Saxon Huxley had beat Stalker at the Great North Rumble in a singles match, and then Stalker won the Rumble. Stalker was the number 1 contender because he won the Rumble. Who's beat the number 1 contender? Saxon Huxley. So Saxon comes in, wrestles Brady in the main event. And I think if wrestling just makes sense, if you just write wrestling to make sense, it will always make sense.
Definitely, no, I fully agree. Like I say, I think that's a good thing as well. Obviously, it kind of sucks, if somebody has to drop out. But if the story's done that well, or you planted enough little seeds here and there, you've always got a plan B. You've always kind of got a backup, like you sort of said. Then that makes perfect sense. As a fan, if I'm sat there, I hear that, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I'm not having to suspend my disbelief any further. I'm still involved in the storyline. Yeah, crack on. That sounds good, kind of thing.
Yeah, and with people dropping out, it's not a big deal. Like I'd rather people take their health way more seriously than wrestling. It's just wrestling. You know what I mean? It's just a form of entertainment at the end of the day. If some TV show wasn't on tonight because of someone was ill, would you really be bothered? Something like that. It's one of those things. It is what it is. It sucks, but I'd much rather people take their safety better, and also gives us a chance to give someone else an opportunity. And Isaac and Rob will be back, and they're one of our main teams.
Yes, again, Isaac is just another one of those guys that kind of jumps out at me when I've watched previous shows. Bob Drake as well, obviously, but yeah, Malum is just you're just ticking all the boxes for me as a promotion. Like I love that guy, love that guy, love that guy. As I mentioned, Adam, Kemper. Again, anybody who watches this show follows me on Twitter. I'm shouting out from the rooftop, man. Kemper for me is like the next big thing in British wrestling. I just think every promotion should just be booking that guy and having him chase for the title. Obviously, if everybody did it, would get very boring very quick. So everybody do it. But
so we had a 6-man match at Settle Score. It was Kemper, Stalker, and HT Drake. And seeing HT Drake stood him in the middle of both of those 2 guys, it just made him look short. And he's not actually that short, he's quite tall. So it was really funny just seeing him as the smallest man with them both because they're both giants. That was really funny. But yeah, that was those 2 against those 3 against Kez Evans and Hardgate Violence as well. That was good, and it was good to see them all in there. But yeah, just seeing those 2 giants next to HT Drake just popped me massively.
I bet he's still trying to pick one of them up and suplex and stuff though. There's so much talent in Newcastle that it's unreal, and it just legitimately blows my mind. It's just such a place where But I think is that it seems like everybody that's coming through is bigging up everybody else as well. Like I was saying, you've got Win, you mentioned we've got other promotions up in Newcastle, but there doesn't seem to be any gnarliness. It's like everybody's kind of helping everybody out. It's like everybody's getting better because everybody else is getting better. Everybody's elevating each other.
I think after the pandemic, everyone started shouting about stuff they loved rather than shouting about stuff they didn't like. I think having wrestling snatched away from you like that, it affected people differently. And I think a lot of the fans came back, wanting to support wrestling as much as they can and just support stuff that they like. I think not just wrestling and everything else, But I think it's one of those things like after the pandemic, everyone just who was wrestling before the pandemic just loves to be wrestling again. They've had it snatched away from them. They can't, everyone who was like sort of getting a bit, because in wrestling, like when you get beat up and you might be working like 4 times a week or whatever, and you've got a full-time job and you have to go to the gym every single day and you have to eat properly, and you might be training as well, doing wrestling training as well, and you get beat up and you start to dislike wrestling, come disillusioned, a bit like, what am I doing? And then when it gets snatched away from you like that, and then you come back, it's like, right, I love this. And your first match, I love this. I think I haven't lost that since I've came back. Every wrestling match I have, I look forward to now. And, I love it.
That seems to be again, I've said that to a few people, and that seems to be the moment kind of thing, the key moment where, you kind of people lost it for a year, couple or 2 years, and then when they came back, it was more of a positive outlook. Like I said, maybe prior to that, I think as well, it's because there's that much talent out there now as well. People aren't having to be as, people are a bit more open to losing their spots. There's more promotions for them to work at, so they don't have to safeguard as much stuff as probably they did 10 years ago. So they can be a bit more everyone else.
I don't know if it's like that. I think that the talent pool is like really deep, and I think a lot of it is just people as well want to like wrestle really good people. So if you're shouting about certain wrestlers, there's a good chance that you might get to work with those people, and that's one of the cool things.
I love it because, like I say, it's just British wrestling at the minute. Like I said, the talent pool is so deep. I can't even imagine being in your situation. Like, I just like, it'd be like me doing fantasy football or something and just be, trying to pick like just X amount of people and then be like, nah, dude, it absolutely blow my mind. Just like how do you? I say, obviously, you want to make Win different to the shows around you, so you want to be using other people. But again, that's still, just so many different people out there to pick.
Yeah, I mean, we have seminars before our like events, like I've said previously, and for I think every seminar we've had, there's always been a person that ends up having a match on one of our events in the future, and it's helped me like discover people I've not seen before as well, and or like see people making that sort of effort and being like, oh yeah, made an effort to come up here, and then I actually watch the seminars as well, so I get to see them work and stuff, and I get to see them doing stuff, and that's a real eye opener too. It's helped us discover like a lot of people that we either didn't, not that we didn't like, didn't like or anything like that, just maybe that just weren't on our radar because we were looking in certain areas. There's a lot of talent, around the UK, and just not everyone can be on your radar. People have full-time jobs, they have families, you can only watch so much wrestling, you can only go through so many people's CV. It's one of those things where if it's there in front of me, I'm going to see it.
That is an awesome shout. Yeah, like I sort of said, it's the seminars serve multi purposes. They're obviously there to help people learn. They're there for passing on of the wisdom, but it also helps you to sort of see who makes the effort, who comes up. Like sort of said, it's enables you to see
I think
fresh
from
faces.
the seminars we've had, Casino Brutal, we've had Kemper came up, Skinner came on, Chili Heatwave's been all of them. Who else? So the 2 lads from the last one, Sebastian Mercer and Joe Sedgwick, those 2 guys, they came up from down Leeds way and really good in the seminar. And like I said, we had some dropouts, so we're like, right, what can we do? So we had a tag match, and that was really good. two good lads. They train at Rampages as well. But yeah, it's good to like see people like you know, like I said, you can't watch everything, you know, and only you can only shout so loud on social media that your stuff gets seen as well. So it's quite hard to actually see all the wrestlers that you can, you know, and there's only so many opportunities. It's really difficult. You look at some people and you're like, oh, man, I'd love to have you on our events, but it's like, again, we're quite low budget as well in the sense of we use like if we're bringing one person from somewhere, we're more likely bringing three others with them, you know, because it's just how we work. So a lot of it is like if we have someone come from the area as well, we try and have a little look around that area.
Travel costs.
Yeah, like wrestling isn't, you know, it's not cheap to put on, you know, like a really high quality wrestling like product. It's not cheap to put on. You don't want to undercut everyone, you know, and you want the guys to make a good, you know, living and stuff. So it's like it's really difficult to put on. And like we try and offer like really good value for money as well with our events. They're only £10 a ticket, £10 a seat, and if you 4 years, we don't do a family ticket. It's not like 2 kids, 2 adults. It's just if there's 4 years, it's £30. Because I have my dad, so like I always say like you see like a child's ticket is half the price of an adult's ticket, but it's the child that sometimes wants to go, and like so like I'm paying double to come and watch this thing that my kid wants to go see, but I'm not really bothered about. But I have to pay double. Why is that a thing? You know. So yeah, all of our tickets are a tenner, or you can get four for 30. So again, we want to make as many wrestling fans as we can as well. So there's a lot of people that come to our events that this is the first time they've seen wrestling, and I think we give them a good experience. I think if our events were one of the first time that you've seen live wrestling, I think you're gonna go away and think great of all of live wrestling. You know, you probably, like I said, we do work with the local community as well. So we have a local charity, family charity, and we donate like tickets to those like every event. So like our venue holds like 300 people, and we normally give away like I think it's like 7 or 8 family tickets to the local family charity, just to get people involved and get people to see wrestling that haven't seen it before, you know, and just get more people to enjoy wrestling.
But it's a night out as well. It's not just obviously the wrestling thing's awesome, you know, if they then come back, but it's just the being able to, you know, like so say, you know, spending money on this, spending money on that. I mean, £10 a ticket is absolutely mind blowing as well. You know, 4 for 30. Jesus, I wish they did that. You know, in Leeds, any promotion in Leeds ever wants to do that, I will bite your hands off. But it's like I said, you know, for the community thing, it's not always possible for families to go out and do stuff as families. Yeah. So, you know, if you're giving opportunities for a few families to have a night out, you know, it's sort of like that to me, dude, is just, I love that shit. That's the kind of shit that makes me feel warm and fuzzy. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, we get a lot of comments afterwards and messages off them saying like, you know, oh, it was great, my kid like loves wrestling, but like, you know, we can't go to local shows or whatever. Or we didn't even, sometimes they don't even know local wrestling exists. And it's just, you know, because it's not shoved down the faces about, you know. But yeah, a lot of people don't know that local wrestling exists as well. So, you know, getting them in and be like, oh wow, this is really good. Or, you know, they might have been to an event before that, you know, it wasn't that good, and they thought all of it's like that, you know. And then they come to this and like, oh, actually, you know, it's pretty good that.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, like it's leveled up since last time we saw it, kind of thing. And that's the thing as well, you know, just like I said, for the £10, for the names that I've been talking about, you know, they're 20 quid, 30 quid a ticket names. If that kind of makes sense, you know, you kind of price up some shows.
Yeah.
I would expect, you know, for the guys that you have on, you know, I would be expected to pay 20, 30 quid a ticket. So that is legitimately just absolutely blowing my mind.
So I just want to make like a new generation of wrestling fans as well, because I think a lot of people like obviously they try and get wrestling fans in as well, but I want to make like new wrestling fans. Like I want people to be like, oh, the wrestling's on at the Forest Hall. That's why we sort of went with wrestling in Newcastle, because it's the wrestling. Like if you ask anyone oh, the wrestling. It's like, oh yeah, that's what they always say out here. It goes like, uh, but yeah, again, we want to just be like, oh, the wrestling's on at the Forest Hall again. Are we going? You know, and a lot of people don't. I've said this before. A lot of people don't see company names. They don't see like Wrestling Newcastle or, you know, Prime Wrestling or, you know, True Grit Wrestling, Tyler Wrestling. They just see wrestling. There's some wrestling on, and they probably think we're all the same. We've had people say, "Oh, we've won some tickets to your event at the last one in Whitley Bay or whatever," and we're like, "Oh, we don't run in Whitley Bay." They just see, "Oh, they're all the same. They're all wrestling." So
It's one big family.
yeah, so it's one of those things. We just want to give like people a chance to see good wrestling as well.
Yeah, dude, no, I salute you for it. I'll tip my hat. Because the thing is, like you sort of said, sometimes people don't know wrestling exists outside of WWE. To a lot of people, that could be on an end-all kind of thing. Like I said, I mentioned him earlier, I've got a 6-year-old, doesn't watch wrestling. He's not a wrestling fan on TV, bores the crap out of him. I took him to a Planet Wrestle show a few months ago. We've been to like 3 or 4 wrestling shows since. Anytime there's wrestling on now, like, I want to go. Do you want to watch
It's a
on
different
TV?
experience, isn't it, for them? It's interactive, it's there, it's in your face, and it's really is a real different experience of live and in person. And I think if you can get as many people as you can to experience it, you make more fans. Like I said, our venue is 300 and we fill it every single time. And it's good just to see, there's a lot of kids there. And it's good to see them having like an absolute mint time watching the wrestling. The chaos mint fan pick that we had, and it was 3 kids, and one had the Money in the Bank, like the proper WWE Money in the Bank, and like a World Championship over the shoulder. Like, they all came kitted out in all the wrestling gear that they've got. It's like, might be one of like their first local wrestling shows.
That's it, but you can't help but smile. But I bet you what, one of those pictures is going to turn up in about 10 years' time of some dude that's blowing up the UK scene at that time, kind of thing, and that'll be like the photo of me before I became a wrestler, kind of thing. And it'll be like, at a win show with my Money in the Bank briefcase. That was me. Or, and now I'm off to New Japan or something.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. That.
That's how it happens, though, dude. And like I said, that's the thing. That's why I think good promotions are key, because there's so many good promotions, but on the flip side, there's still a few bad ones, and they're the ones that can kind of put people off. If you're unlucky enough for that to be your first taste, as you sort of said, it's those free tickets that are going to get people back after a bad experience, because it's just important.
Well, we want to be, the type of wrestling where, you see a post for it and you're like, oh, that looks legit. That looks like a real wrestling promotion sort of thing, and I can see that that's wrestling from looking at the poster. That looks good. Why don't we go there? Oh, it's only a tenner. Oh, cool. Let's go watch it. It might be your first wrestling show, but then we also want people to enjoy it. We're like, oh, we're gonna get to see Dara wrestle Chris Ridgway, or we're gonna get to see, whatever it is, and like that's what we want to get, like both those people together, because for me that's what all the big global wrestling promotions do. We just do that on a smaller scale, like WWE, like no one's WWE make how many t-shirts do WWE sell a year? Them fans aren't afraid to be seen as wrestling fans, are they? You know what I mean? They're happy enough with what they see on WWE and going, yeah, I'm a wrestling fan, and they also sell kids pajamas and wrestling figures and all this for kids. So like people who enjoy WWE can be of any age, and they're proud of being a wrestling fan. And that's what I want to be, really. At any age, you can look at our card and be like, oh, I'm gonna get to see all these awesome matches. Or you can see a poster in the street and go, oh, that looks good. Do you want to go see that? It's only a tenner.
Why would you not? Well, you mentioned posters. Yeah, that's the thing as well. I still see them flying around, but I kind of forget the importance of like the poster. I kind of rely more on social media now, kind of thing. But as a promoter, I think I was having this conversation with someone. It's like the poster for me still pops me. If I see a good poster, I will stop dead in my tracks and I will look at it and it gets my attention. But it's the importance of who you put on the poster as well for me. Like, you've got to have people on there that just gets people attention. Like for me, it'd be like a Brady Phillips. He looks like a wrestler. I want him on my poster. You got like Scotty Rourke, guys like that.
It looks like the wrestling that you probably seen on TV when you were growing up, and that's the sort of thing that I want to look like.
I want the big guys. I want the Rampage. I want the Shreddies. I want the Kegs. Like say Brady Phillips. That's that.
You also want your your X-Pac and you want all these as well. Like, so you've got to like make it, as long as it looks like wrestling. That's what I aim for. Just if you see it in the town centre, you're not like, oh, is that boxing, or is that a theatre production, or is that, some people do like the parody posters, which are pretty cool, but like I think sometimes people see those and they're like, is this Star Wars? It's like, like just some people, like, they don't get it. They just think they don't know what it is. I just want it to be like, it's wrestling.
That's it. There it is. It's in your face. Now I've got your attention. Look at it closely. Right now, okay, go buy it. But again, I mentioned before, social media is important for stuff like that as well. But I think some promotions embrace the social media side of things, some don't, and they do really well without it as well, kind of thing. I'm not saying one's right or one's wrong, but I just think it helps, and win. I think you guys, your social media game is on point.
Yeah, you've got to use social media if you want to, like, attract wrestling fans, really, to get the word out there that what you're putting on is a quality product that people should want to watch. It's quality pro wrestling that people want to watch, and I think that's the best way is targeting them, is provide them with clips of your shows. You show them full events. Give them that confidence that, yeah, if I watch this event, it's going to be good or whatever. You can watch it on YouTube, see what it's like, and then, oh yeah, it was pretty good. Let's go in person and go see it. You're giving an actual, like, wrestling fans confidence what you've got is good. I think that's the best use of social media to attract new fans, and to show your product off as well, show your wrestling off. I think that's what we use it for.
Why wouldn't you? It's free advertising. But yeah, like I say, it still amazes me that I'm not having to go at people that don't. There's promotions out there that have got very small sort of internet presence, and they'll sell out the town hall every show kind of thing. They don't need it, but at some point they're going to need new fans, and to me, it just makes more sense, to use.
What sort of wrestling do you want to be like? I used to work for a company that used to go town to town and wrestling. Like, you'd be wrestling, like I said, 4 times a week, 5 times a week. You'd be having like 10 matches a week or whatever, 2 shows on a Sunday. None of it was connected, but what your job that night was to entertain those fans for 2 hours, and they'll go away and have a good night. It wasn't so much to, oh well, we're going to be back here next month, get them back for next month. It was like, you might not go back to that town for 6 months. That might be the first time that town's ever had wrestling. I remember I wrestled a show in Macduff in Scotland once. Have a look where that is on the map. They didn't get wrestling that often, but every single person from that village came and watched that night. And we'll probably never be back there again. So they don't need social media in that sense. They, like, another promoter went to that town, posted that town. He went up there and posted. But yeah, like, it just depends what type of wrestling promotion you want to be. Like, I loved working for the touring promotion. I thought it was awesome. Got to wrestle all over the country. Burnt you out, though, but it was awesome.
That's it. I mean, obviously, kind of, it sounds reminiscent of, like, the holiday camp thing. When you get like, say, you work in 2 or 3 shows in a day. You learn, it's the repetition. You're comfortable. You're with with a group of people that you have a laugh with.
Like working on the camps is just, you get to work in front of hundreds of people every single night, all probably the first time they've seen wrestling is the Butlins or whatever, and you're getting to wrestle with all your mates, and they're always good wrestlers as well. Like, imagine I'm go wrestle for 2 weeks and you're going to be wrestling Dean Allmark every single night. You'd be like, oh yeah, where do I sign? Where do I sign up?
Easier, does it? Again, you mentioned Dean earlier. I've got to acknowledge Mr. Allmark. He's like, I think somebody once said, it just made me laugh. He's like, when you see him walking past, it's like, oh, he looks like your favourite uncle. And then he gets in the ring, and it's like, oh damn, that dude kicks some ass. It's like, yeah.
He's awesome, Dean. He's absolutely class. I loved having him on at win. He's one of those guys where it's like he doesn't really he doesn't really wrestle in the northeast unless he's with like one of the touring promotions. So it's like he's not going to be there like every other month or something. You're probably going to see him like twice a year or something in Newcastle. So it was good for us to be able to bring him up there and go, like, you can come see Dean Allmark every 3 months or whatever.
I think to me, he's somebody who sells tickets. If I saw Dean on a post, like you said, because it's like a matinee thing. You don't see him very often in certain places. So
yeah,
when
you
you
don't know.
do,
He'll tour the country, Dean. He'll wrestle in every single town or whatever city
yeah.
up and down the UK, but like he might be there like twice a year or whatever. So if you can get him, it's like, oh yeah, look, this guy's not going to be here because his schedule's full and he's touring the country.
So that's it. If I see him on a poster, man, I'm buying a ticket for that show because he's one of those guys that just like yes. Talk about holiday camp things. So I know we talked about winning stuff, but like I said, I was off last week. I was at Butlins. You just mentioned Butlins, wrestling. Got to see Kick Out Wrestling.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've seen the holiday camp wrestling in years, kind of thing. Also, I've talked about it a load with people on here. Again, my dude went. Some of the guys I don't know because I know there's certain guys that only work holiday camps, for a few years before they kind of venture out. But I'm trying to remember his name. There was a luchador dude.
Eccentrico.
Yes, that's it. So yeah, Eccentrico. Yes. Holly Hudson was on. Ashton Smith. And a couple of other guys whose name I can't remember. Colossus. And I didn't hear half the names because my dude was just shouting. He was just
all good people.
Yeah. Dara was meant to be there apparently, but he was working, so I missed the chance of seeing Dara. But again, it's just totally, for me, I was just like...
Well, imagine you're a family at Butlins and this is the first time you've seen wrestling.
Yeah.
What's that quality like you've just seen there? Really good.
Well, it was good, but to me, it was... Again, loved it. Obviously, I'm not the intended audience. I still enjoyed it.
Yeah. You've got to think of these people that are going there. They're on holiday. Yeah. They haven't signed up to come watch wrestling. They just turned up and went, "Oh, what's this?"
I was there with a 6-year-old. He absolutely loved it. It was popping. I had a smile on my face though, because like Ashton did a leapfrog. Man, that got such a massive reaction. He body slammed someone. Roof got blown off. It was just like the most basic of moves. People were popping the tits for. And I was like, yes, and it must just be good for the guys in the ring to be like, it's not an easy night, but it's got to be a little bit easier than trying to, freaking put on a 5-star spot after spot, freaking chain wrestle kind of thing.
Yeah, well, working in front of crowds like that is really, like, that does prepare you for working for, like, WWE. Like, when you go into different towns and stuff, them fans aren't used to going to WWE shows. They're used to watching it at home or whatever, and that could be their first time in an arena or whatever. So like when you go out there, some fans don't know how to react. If they're not doing it with wrestling shows before, they don't know like when to start doing or when to start clapping or all that sort of stuff because they've never been wrestling before. So you got to teach them. You got to teach them how to what they should be doing. So like when you see the guys like clapping or whatever, or you've got the red coats doing whatever. You've got like these fans probably haven't seen wrestling before, so they don't know like, oh, we should probably clap our hands now to get behind him. Where like as a wrestling fan, it's sort of like with the local shows, it's sort of ingrained in you. You know what I mean? But yeah, you've got to teach them.
We'll talk as a promotion then as well, because obviously, again, I've had a few promoters on kind of thing. As we mentioned a few times, the first match on the card is really, really important.
Yeah,
because that's the kind of match that you use to kind of train the new fans. People who may not have been to a wrestling show before. Kind of like you want it to be so clear who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, who do you cheer, who do you boo. That's the importance of the first match.
Yeah, well, we mostly send out Adam Bolt out first. It's quite clear, but yeah, we normally send Adam Bolt out first. I think he sets the pace for our events. He's if you watch Adam Bolt live, he's quality and. He's really good at what he does, and it starts to show off. Correct. Yeah, but yeah, it's true.
That's it, like this, because as much as you like to think it's a promotion, probably like I said, 80% of those fans are returning fans. They've been to previous shows, they loved it, they came back, they're emotionally invested. But you've always kind of still got to cater for, the small percentage of people who have never been to a show before. You don't want to intimidate them, you don't want to scare them off, you want them to come back again. So yeah, show them what to do.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of time, like Butlins is one of those ones where it's like everyone there. It could be the first time that you don't have many returners. It could be 90% people seeing the wrestling for the first time. Where if you've been running like a local show for a while, and you do have those returning fans. They'll show the new fans what to do. They'll know if you send out Bolt first, what the fans are going to do, and other people will follow in suit. So that's where the two differ slightly.
I think, and then obviously, from a fan, from being on this side, it wasn't until somebody pointed it out to me that I've kind of like never noticed that before, but it makes 100% sense, kind of thing. The importance, because back in the day, the first match was a curtain jerker. It sucked if you was the show progressively got better, kind of thing. That first match was nobody wanted to be on the first match, kind of thing. But a lot of people now say if you're not in the main event, the first match, man, that's like that's key. That sets the bar. It shows people what to do. Take it as a compliment if you're on the first match because you're being entrusted to get shit going.
Yeah, if you're on the first match, then like you're the first people that represent the company. You're the promoter thinks this match will get my fans in the right mood for the rest of it. It's a compliment, if anything.
That's what I think. Take it as a compliment. You're being entrusted to get the fans warmed up and keep everybody happy. But yeah, obviously, like I said, I've just clocked the time. So far we've had 5 shows from Win, as I mentioned, 4 on YouTube. You generally sort of want to show every 3-4 months.
Yeah, so the first year we ran 3 events, and then this year we run 4 in total. So we've got 2 more left. We've done 2, we've got 2 more left this year. We've got Summertime Showdown on Saturday the 3rd of August, and then we've got a Grand Slam in November, and that's going to be in a new venue too. It's not going to be in the social club that we're in now. We're going to run a leisure centre, not too far away from where we are now. We just want to see, what we'll look like in there, and to see this one. Obviously, we're not capped at 300, so we sell out. We've sold out pretty much each event that we've ran, except from one, which was Summertime Showdown 1. We didn't sell it out because it was the same day as Thunderstruck, North Thunderstruck. We ran before them, so you can imagine my life that day. I ran Summertime Showdown, then I ran over to the Walker Dome, and I wrestled Gangrel and Rory Coyle in front of 700 people. So it was like, that was a hectic day, but that was the only one we didn't sell out, and that was just, poor planning.
That's understandable. Yeah, you can look at that and be like, yeah, okay, I'll take the hit on that one.
But yeah, we've sold out all of our events up to now, and we just think Grand Slam, it sort of gives us the opportunity to get more people in. We're not expecting to get loads more, and it's just there's a chance we can get more in. We're not like, oh, we sold out and there's still like 3 weeks left to the event or whatever. But yeah,
like I say, if you can get another 100 in, or however many, again, it's more families, it's more people who hopefully get to experience wrestling for the first time. Like I said, building future fans. I just don't. Yeah, if you're selling out the current place, like I sort of said, man, I think it's just going and going and going. Dude, it's snowballing. That's the best way I can put it, basically. I think your momentum is just building and building. Reputation, matches, talent. Again, I speak to a lot of people on here. Wrestling in Newcastle is becoming a promotion where people are talking to me and be like, yeah, man, I want to go work there. I ask them, like, what promotions do you want to go work at in the next 12 months? Yeah, you guys are definitely one of the boxes now for people that want to tick off.
Yeah, and I think that's good for like the wrestling scene in general. Like the more places that wrestlers want to wrestle at and like fans want to go see. You know, like you said yourself, like you live outside the area, but if this was local to you, you know, you'd want to go see it, or if you had like, you know, you could make it, you would. And I think that's good. Like it's good. It's good to have like a buzz around the wrestling scene like that. Like I said, we've got 2 more events. Saturday the 3rd of August, 4 p.m. That one's Sometime Showdown 2, the Forest Hall Social Club, and then we've got Saturday the 16th of November, and this one's at 2 o'clock. This one's at 2 o'clock, and that's at Hadrian Leisure Centre in Newcastle too. And yeah, 2 o'clock start. So if you're traveling from afar, you're still gonna get home in good time. Or if you want to come and then go have a look at Newcastle afterwards, you can. You know, you don't
Oh,
have to rush home. You know, you can even get a train there and a train back. So one of them wrestling shows that's gonna finish at 11 when you can't get a train. You know, you're gonna be out
I
in.
don't know.
So
Those
it's one
aren't
of
too
those
bad. 'Cause at
things.
least you've got an excuse to stay over. Then you see, like, oh, I missed the last train. I'm gonna have to stay out in Newcastle. I'll find a big. I'll go back tomorrow.
This is even better because it would finish, I don't know, like before 5. So you get a chance to go back to your hotel, you know, freshen up, then hit the town. Exactly. Who doesn't want to do that?
Oh, the night out in Newcastle
And
scares
you
me.
get going to see Rampage Brown versus Nathan Cruz. It's the only match we've announced so far. But
Oh,
you know, get to see that as well. See, that is a good night. That's see what we're trying to sell here. See what we're trying to sell.
yeah. Dude, I will be singing it from the rooftops, up until the show. Part of me is going to be like, right, can I do it? Can I do it? If I get, I'll send my 6-year-old off for adoption if I have to. Just like, right, I'm coming up. I've got to do this. I've got to see that match. I've got to see that. But it's not just obviously, yeah, like I say, you're hyping up, Nathan Cruz versus Rampage, and that's going to be an absolute banger. But I know the other 6 matches are going to be bangers as well, based on what you've done previously, kind of thing. So there's no hesitation. I won't second guess buying a ticket now for a show that you've got going on in November, just on the back of one match. That speaks, there's not many promotions I think that can do that.
Yeah, well, we started selling tickets, I think, for Grand Slam like a month ago. And the reason we did that is just because we want people to be able to plan, or like to be able to, even families, if it's like, oh, well, there's a new wrestling thing coming up local, because this one's in Wallsend in Newcastle. It's not in Forest Hall. So it might be something that they're seeing for the first time, and we want people to be able to be like, okay, yeah, well, we're going to go to that. So we started promoting it early and started letting people buy tickets early. And we've already sold like a decent amount already, front row's like nearly sold out. So yeah, it's one of those things that we like to, let people know earlier. Our entire card's already out there now. So it might be a case for some people where they can't afford it this payday, but they might be able to afford it next payday. But we've already told you, or they might want to buy early now so that they don't have to use so much money up later on, So
Yeah,
things like
Christmas.
that. It's like, people know what they're going to get.
Exactly. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. November shows. It's always in the back of my mind. It's like, crap, do I buy Christmas presents? Do I buy tickets to go watch wrestling? If I could have bought the ticket 3 or 4 months ago, this won't be an issue. So, yeah,
Yeah, I
jobs
think
are
a
good.
lot of people forget about that sort of thing. Like I'm a dad, I have a family, and my siblings have families and stuff, and I see how hard it is, for people to, go to events or whatever, or like, a lot of people buy Christmas presents early, and I think we're missing out on a lot of, fans by not doing that,
Dude. Sorry, mate. I just literally said a few minutes ago, I've just clocked the time, and then just randomly kept talking.
Sorry.
Like, obviously, just pick up the future shows, so it's time well spent. But yeah, so I don't really know what else to say. I'm just wrestling in Newcastle. I'll say that again, wrestling in Newcastle. So I lost my W for a second. Yeah, there's nothing, that hasn't been said on socials. Absolutely smashed it. Like I say, mate, you must just be sat there happy. Obviously, you're always kind of probably going to be your own worst critic. There's going to be little things that you want to improve, or this, that, or the other. But from this side of the curtain, from a fan's perspective, smashing it.
No, it's really good to hear. Like I said, it's good to see that people watch our stuff as well. When people talk to us and like, oh, I watched it on YouTube and things. It's like, it's really good. And like we think we've got like 1,000 views on like most of our videos now, and that's quite crazy because, like I said, we're only a small promotion in Newcastle. So yeah,
I would sell my soul for those numbers. So
yeah.
I was, I'll let it get gone. So yeah, obviously I've got to say, you know, what's the rest of the year hold out, but I know what the rest of the year holds out. It's got the August show. We've just been talking about Grand Slam. We've got Nathan Cruz versus Rampage Brandon Warner. To me, that's just, yeah, everybody and anybody from everywhere in the country should just be getting on big green buses or mega buses and just put up, man. So yeah, that's it. So I'll plug your socials, let people know where they can buy the tickets for the shows, or you know, see future match announcements.
Yeah, so you follow us on Facebook, search for Wrestling in Newcastle, and if you want to buy tickets, it's eventbrite.co.uk, and just search for Wrestling in Newcastle. We'll be at the top. And we're also on Instagram. I think it's Wrestling in Nuke, I think, or is that X? It's one of them. You'll be able to find us. Type in Wrestling in Newcastle and you'll be able to find us.
That's the one. Obviously, we'll tag you in everything everywhere anyway as well. So obviously, if you're not following, you know, the Win guys, please do so. I don't know why you'd be watching this if you wasn't already following them. Hopefully, you know, if you're a new fan and you're just curious, give them a follow, see what they do. But yeah, so you know, hit them up, say hi, buy a ticket, buy some merch, subscribe to the YouTube channel, go see the 4 shows that are on there now. Be impressed, smile, watch it, enjoy it, have fun, and I'll say bye because that's it. I'm done. Hit like, hit subscribe, share, comment, do the generic stuff you always do, and we'll see you again very soon. We'll have Mr. Kegstacker on at some point in the future, and yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Benji, thank you so much for, you know, giving me an hour plus of your time and talking.
No, anytime. It was good. Anytime. I like talking about wrestling.
Yeah, well, that's it, man. That's it. You can't just sit down and talk for an hour about wrestling. You know what's going on. So yeah, we'll see you again very soon. And thank you for watching. Goodbye.